I'm here with Ruth Barrett-Danes at the Guildford Arts Exhibition 2024, and Ruth's going to tell us a little bit about her work. Over to you, Ruth.
Okay, most of them are collagraphs, and the first thing people say is, what's a collagraph? Very simply, you're working with a basic board and you're making your own plate to print from. So anybody who's had a go at making collagraphs usually has started with something very simple like a textured wallpaper or something that makes a texture that when you print from it, it creates an interesting surface. But with my collagraphs, I usually work with 2 or 3 plates, and the plates I make myself. And when you look at the plate, it doesn't really give you much idea.
Oh, is this the plate?
Of what the final print will appear, because the actual plate looks very simple, but it has slightly recessed areas, and it's all to do with the inking. Collagraphs are all to do with the inking. So what you're doing is spreading the ink over the surface and then wiping back. So all the ink is caught in the recesses, and this is called intaglio printing. It's like etching. Etching is intaglio printing. So when you ink up, you wipe back, so the ink is kept in the recesses. And then you have to have an etching press, you have to have a really good quality damp paper, and so that when you put the paper on top of your plate, you're taking it through the press under pressure, and so that sucks the ink, if you like, out of all of that onto the paper. So it's almost like painting, but painting on paper. So all of those prints are made from 2 layers of plates, and there's lots of things that go on in terms of the way that you apply the ink. So they're quite complex pieces, and I personally don't work with editions because I like to regard them as sort of one-off paintings in themselves. If you go around the corner, most of them are to do with landscape and place. But I do also, because I was a ceramist as well, and I've also worked with mythology and the sort of stories behind. I like the stories, so some of my prints also are based on sort of stories. So, alas, poor Gaelic, who's further down, the hound.
Where's that?
This one is here. It's the story of a faithful hound. It's a Welsh legend. And the Lord comes home to find that his beloved child is covered in blood, and his faithful hound also covered in blood. And he immediately jumps to the indication that it's the hound who has attacked the child, and slaughters his hound, alas, poor Gaelic. And as it appears, the poor hound was trying to protect the child and had killed the wolf. And so the Lord only discovered that once he'd slaughtered. So, alas, poor Gaelic. I always feel sorry for him.
Oh, it is rather a sad
So
story.
it's a sad story, but
it's a very intriguing one, and a lesson for us all.
yes,
To not jump to conclusions too soon.
exactly.
And these are absolutely stunning colours on these.
And again, this is to do with the inking, because you can also, because some of the plates have got very raised surfaces to them, you can use a combination of, it's called viscosity inking. So you're working with different viscosity inks. One can be very oily, and then if you use a very dry ink on top and roll it over the surface, one resists the other, but you get the two colours. So that's why there's such a richness and depth in a lot of my work, because I work a lot with the viscosity inking, which is not easy, but it's lovely to do, and people love to know the process.
Well, your work is fascinating, and it's fascinating listening to you talk about it, and I urge everybody to get down here and come and see. Thank you so much for being part of the exhibition.
Well, thank you. It was a great pleasure and honour. Thank you very much.